Good morning, Sean here, and it is the Revelstoke Mayor Report with Mayor Gary Stalls. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Sean. How are you doing today?
Another day in paradise for me, good sir. And do you have a list of things that you want to chat, or do you want me to ask my questions first?
Well, you can ask your questions. Let's go through it, and then I just have a couple little things to deal with.
Okay, sounds good. So I wanted to have a quick chat about the new potential bylaw that you guys are working on for vacation rentals. There were some articles out over the last week and a half about it, but I thought we could get hyper-specific about what that is, what it entails, and what it might look like moving forward.
Sure.
So with that said, so what are we hoping to see? What's the gain on this?
Well, having all the vacation rentals kind of listed in the community, those who are illegal becoming legal, dealing with it through zoning throughout the community, but also dealing with it through a business license sort of thing. We're looking at owner-operated, owner being present in the home, and then being able to rent out a room or part of the house or whatever for vacation rental. Rather than just having two or three, where people have two or three houses and they rent them out for vacation rental, and there's no one on present there to look after the needs. So that's kind of what we're looking at, and then we're defining which houses will be suitable for that, whether multi-family houses or whether just single-family houses, or how that's going to work. And then we're going to talk about which neighborhoods should have or shouldn't have. And go forward with that.
Okay, so the idea that if they're living in the house, then there'll be some form of control.
That's exactly it.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, I guess, and I can't ask you this and expect an answer, but maybe we could look into it for next week. Where are we at with, I don't want to get into BC housing where by the South Side Market, but maybe at least the Columbia Gardens and see where that's at. Like maybe in the next week we could look into what's the project looking like now.
Yep, I can just say they've now got to the point where some of the new sections that are open, they're going to move people from the older sections over to the new sections so that they can get into the older sections and start renovating there. And I don't know if that means that there's actually room for others to get into the building at this point in time. So we know we're at that. But I'll define that, and then we can talk about it next week.
Yeah, I think it's a good reminder. I overheard some people talking about it, and I just sat quietly listening, and there was some definite confusion in that discussion about renting it. They thought, oh, you can just rent it, and people will come in and pay this and that, and I'm thinking they have no idea. That's a BC housing thing. It's a whole other ballgame. You pay rent based on your income, and you've got to be pre-approved, and you get situated based on the number of members in the family and if you were accepted to begin with.
Yeah, that's exactly how that works. BC housing is pretty specific about how people get in, the need, that sort of thing. So it's not just, a couple comes into the community and says, hey, I need a house, and they're able to get in and do it. It's all based on need and financial need. Okay.
So that's good news that we're progressing in that regard. We're starting to address some of those issues.
Yes.
This month we also have you guys have to come up with a vote. You guys have to determine what's going to happen next. I understand that Councillor Yunker requested an extension, so you guys are going to have to go to the drawing board on that one.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that as we get down to the first area of his leave, where it's 60 days or 4 consecutive meetings. So that'll be near the end of March, and we'll talk about how we move forward.
Okay, sounds good. And what else did you want to dive into that we should know about?
Well, we've got new software on our website. The software name is called Bang the Table. It's listed under TalkRevelstoke.ca. It's an interactive engagement software where people can engage with the community on things that are going on. So right now I see on there that we have the Johnson Heights Neighborhood Plan. People can still interact on that, and the OCP. And there'll be other things listed as we go forward. But this is a great way for people to interact with the city and make their feelings and comments known, but also get information as to how things are working as we move forward.
And there was some social media chatter. You may or may not have seen it. It was just mostly about the new golf course fertilizer runoff. And I did ask for the environmental study that would have most likely had to have been done. Dawn said she'd get back to me Marianne could when she could. And maybe you could get a little bit more info for next week, and we could talk a little bit about that type of concern that people are having about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We'll find out some more information if there is information out there at this point, and then we can have that discussion.
Okay, and we do know now that the parks for camping are indicating, they're not quite open yet to book, but they are indicating that it's first come for British Columbians. They get to pick the cherry pick spots where they want to go camping, which generally means they know we're going to be traveling in the springtime, it seems to be starting right now. Not interprovincially, but within our province, that we're going to stay and play in our own backyard kind of thing. So we're going to see travelers starting, I would guess May would realistically be the time frame. So we're kind of in this zone of not inviting people in, but we know they're going to come, so we're still going to have to play mitigation a bit.
Yep, exactly. And so I know that the provincial government came out with a parks mandate, BC residents only, or to start with BC residents only. I'm not sure how they're going to define that, but that's up to them. And they're starting to take reservations, I believe, as of now. Talking with some of the provincial government people and Dr. Bonnie Henry, they're not going to be shutting down the borders to allow other people to come. So those people are going to come. And so it's up to us to make sure that we keep ourselves safe and they keep themselves safe and go forward. As the vaccine rolls out, we're going to see more people coming, but we're also going to see more people recreating in our area, whether that's camping in these camp spots or in other areas of our community.
Okay, well, Gary, we'll figure out a few of those answers for the questions for next week. If you have anything, of course, you can email him directly, or you can ask me, and Gary and I will have a chat about it, because if one person is wondering, there's usually at least 100 inquiring minds that want to know.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Gary.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Take care.